Dip your toe into classics. Hello, this is Christina from the Newfoundland and Labrador Public Libraries. Do you want to give classics a try but are not sure where to start? When you think of classics, do you think of large, dusty tomes filled with archaic, hard-to-understand language? Maybe you have flashbacks to when you were forced to read classics in school? Classics are actually more approachable and enjoyable than they are sometimes given credit for. They also span many different genres, as they were the precursors for many of the genres that we still read today. So let's check out some of the classic reads that the Newfoundland and Labrador Public Libraries have to offer that are a great starting point for getting your feet wet. The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. A young governess is employed to look after two enchantingly beautiful orphans. Striving to protect the children, she becomes obsessed with the idea that they are in danger, but her good intentions may cause more harm than good. Originally published in 1898, this classic is one of Henry James's most well-known works. It is short. Classified as a novella, it is under 200 pages, which should help make it less intimidating to pick up. Typically categorized as Gothic horror, James's novella combines elements of both the traditional Gothic literature of the time with interest in spiritualism and supernatural phenomena that also existed at the time to create this work of mystifying, ambiguous horror. This novella has had many adaptations over the years, including film and television, which means if you find yourself feeling a little lost while reading, you can dive into one of those to help you sort things out. However, be aware that this may be one classic you'll want to read as spoiler-free as possible. It also got a contemporary remake in the form of the novel The Turn of the Key by well-known thriller writer Ruth Ware. So if you liked that novel, this novella is the ideal classic for getting your feet wet. This novella is perfect if you like fiction that blurs the lines between the real and the unreal, thrillers with unreliable narrators, novels that are dark or sinister in subject or tone, and fiction that has a hint of paranormal elements. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This novel tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist obsessed with imparting life to non-living matter, and who eventually creates a sentient creature in an unorthodox scientific experiment. This novel was originally written as a horror story. However, it has become known as one of the first works of science fiction. While it has many elements of the traditional Gothic novel, Shelley was greatly influenced by science and the work of natural philosophers of the time, as well as the works of classic authors such as Ovid, John Milton, and her future husband Percy Shelley, while writing, and therefore the novel places itself midway between science and fancy, transcending the Gothic genre of its time. The themes and ideas it introduces and discusses remain both relevant and interesting to this day. This novel was first published in 1818, when the author was only 20 years old. While Shelley went on to publish numerous other works, Frankenstein is by far her most well-known and well-loved work, and has either been adapted or used as the inspiration for countless films, television shows, plays, and more. This classic is perfect if you like science fiction, specifically science fiction that deals with medicine or the potential consequences of science, adventure stories, fantastical tales of creation gone awry, or stories that are plot-driven but still thoroughly explore ideas and characters. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This novel follows the lives of four sisters: the talented tomboy and author-to-be Jo, tragically frail Beth, beautiful Meg, and lastly, romantic and spoiled Amy, who are united in their devotion to each other and their struggles to survive in New England during the American Civil War. Typically thought to be a children's or young adult read, this classic is truly one that can be enjoyed by anyone of any age. However, the fact that its target audience is usually a younger one means that this novel is incredibly readable. Despite its size, page length can range between 400 and 800 pages depending on the edition. This novel is very approachable and easy to digest. The story is immersive with characters that are vibrant and interesting, and themes that are both universal and timeless. First published in 1868, this was not Alcott's first published work, but it is by far her most well-known and most popular. It is largely autobiographical. Nearly all aspects of the novel were influenced or inspired by elements of Alcott's own life. Since its publication, it has gone on to form the basis for numerous adaptations: radio, film, television, musicals, and even other literary works, cementing its place in popular culture. This novel is perfect if you love family sagas, books that explore gender roles and women's issues, biographical fiction, coming-of-age stories, novels that deal with realistic and difficult subject matter but are still wholesome and uplifting, and books that feature realistic characters, particularly strong female protagonists. Persuasion by Jane Austen. Anne Elliot, once happily betrothed to naval officer Frederick Wentworth, breaks off the engagement when persuaded by a family friend that such a match is unworthy of her. When Wentworth returns from sea years later, a rich and successful captain, he finds Anne's family on the brink of financial ruin. Jane Austen is one of the most famous authors of all time. Her name is nearly synonymous with the idea of the classic novel. Where to start with her work is a matter of opinion. While Persuasion is not the most well-known of her works, it is both Jane Austen's shortest novel and her final, first published 6 months after her death. The length of the novel should help make it less intimidating to pick up, and the sophistication of the writing displays Austen's growth as an author over her career. While this may not be Austen's most popular work, it is still extremely popular and has been adapted many times for stage, screen, and radio, as well as acting as both the inspiration and basis for other literary works. Jane Austen is well known for her keen observations of society, a brilliant wit, and her understanding of human behavior, all of which are on display in this novel. However, the emotional turbulence that one experiences when meeting a former lover again and wanting to win them back is the primary focus of this novel. This novel is perfect if you love romance novels, as it is considered Austen's most romantic piece of writing, especially if you love second chance romances. If you enjoy novels that provide social commentary or social satire alongside the main plot, and if you enjoy novels that deal with family dynamics, particularly the struggle of being expected to conform to certain expectations. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully you'll enjoy dipping your toe into some classics.